everyone, it's Carrie. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing card number 4 in my holiday card series for 2016, and today we're going to be starting off by using a piece of watercolor cardstock from Tim Holtz, and I'm going to be using the smooth side on this, and I'm going to go ahead and prep it with my anti-static powder tool here because I'm going to be embossing, and we're going to do the emboss resist technique. So I'm going to go ahead and get that good and prepped, and then I'm going to go ahead and take this background stamp. This is from Hero Arts, the hand-drawn snowflakes, and I absolutely love this background stamp. It's so fun and so intricate and detailed, so beautiful, and I was really happy I was able to get my hands on it. So I'm going to go ahead and ink that up with my Versamark ink here, and make sure I get that good and covered and inked, and then we're going to go ahead and place that onto our cardstock. And I'm going to make sure that I'm going to get a piece of scrap paper or whatever, just to make sure that I can run my hands across the whole entire spectrum of the whole all over the stamp, and that way it will get it good and covered, and that way I get all my images onto this cardstock. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my embossing powder. This is my favorite white embossing powder from Hero Arts, and I'm going to get this good and covered as well, and make sure that I've got this whole panel covered with the embossing powder. And from there we're going to go ahead and take my heat tool, and then we're going to go ahead and make sure that the heat tool is good and hot before we start emboss, because that will help it get it good and melted and not keep so much heat onto the paper, and it won't warp as much. So I've gone ahead, and you can see here that there is a pattern on that white cardstock there. But what we're going to do is take our distress ink here. This is Tomo Glass Distress ink, and I'm going to ink this up really light hand, because I do want a light background. I don't want to go too intense because I am starting in the middle of my cardstock here. I did speed this up just a little bit because obviously it's just inking up the background, but you can see right before your eyes, obviously that embossed image is resisting that ink, which is really cool. One of my favorite techniques is doing this emboss resist technique because it just gives it just something extra to your background image or whatever your card design that you're doing. So I'm going to go ahead, and I didn't want to ink up all the way to the edges. I just wanted to keep this primarily mainly in the center of my design here, but so I did leave the edges uninked for a reason. So I did take my distress sprayer here, and I did spritz just a little bit of water. It's very subtle. You really can't tell on camera that I did do this, but it does help the ink also blend just a little bit, and it just also gives it a little extra detail as well. So now we're going to go ahead and cut this down, and I've got this die here from Right at Home. It's one of their stitched frame dies. And then I'm going to take this die here. This is the Leaping Deer die from the Essentials by Ellen line over at ellenhudson.com. And I did purchase this not too long ago in their latest release. And I've gone ahead and die cut it and used that same background stamp, but I embossed it in silver. And I just did a whole cardstock panel of that, and then I die cut this. And then now I'm going to go ahead, and I want this to be the dimensional deer, but because he's so intricate at the top, very especially towards his little reindeer hoods there, or his horns rather. I wanted this to be popped up, but obviously that would be impossible to put foam adhesive on this. So I decided to go ahead and die cut this 3 more times to give it just a little bit more dimension. And I'm going to go ahead and take my multi-matte medium glue here, and I'm going to glue these on to each other back to back here, and that's going to create me a more substantial die cut piece, more like an embellishment, if you will. And so I'm just going to take, and that's what I like using the multi-matte medium for this as well. So if you get a little bit of glue that oozes out, it won't be as noticeable as if you were to use another kind of glue. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up placing all of my deer die cuts together, and then I put the embossed one on top, of course, and then I make sure that was all lined up and good and adhered. And you can see the dimension there a little bit, and it really does help make this pop off the card panel here, but you won't have to hassle with that foam adhesive. So now I'm going to go ahead and place this where I want this on my cardstock. And I'm kind of lining it up where the background of that bigger snowflake would be, because that's where primarily where this is die cut from. And it's more like a spotlight technique, if you will, because we're placing that die cut along the same area as where it was when it was die cut from, if that makes sense. So it kind of accentuates that bigger snowflake in the middle, and it kind of gives it a little bit of a neat design. So I'm going to take this die cut, this die here from My Favorite Things. This is their Merry Christmas die. And I die cut this also from some smoked cardstock from Simon Says Stamp. And I have die cut this 4 times. And just to save a little bit of video time, I did go ahead and adhere these off camera because it was a little bit of time consuming there. So, but I did the exact same thing. I just glued these one on top of each other. And now I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to my card panel using the same exact glue, and just get that in place and adhered. I purposely left off the little, I guess the technical term for it is the tittle of the eye, the little dot of the eye, because that was just, even though obviously there's that part of the die cut, it was a little bit more difficult to do that, to stack them one on top of each other. So I just left that off for today. But I did go ahead and adhere the rest of my sentiment onto my card base. And now I've got a piece of fog cardstock cut down to an A2 size card. And I'm going to place that whole panel onto my card base here. And I'm going to take my Tombow Mono glue here and get that on the back there. This glue really does help adhere all of my card panels and anything to my card bases. And it allows me to give that little bit of wiggle room as I am adhering this into place and making sure that I get it all lined up and exactly where I want it. And I really do love these frame dies from Right at Home. They, gives it a really nice slight border to any card designs that you have, and it doesn't cover up the whole entire card base. So I really do like that about these. And then for final touch, I'm taking my Wink of Stella and just covering that whole die cut and giving it a little bit of shimmer. So that's what our card looks like for today, guys. That's card number 4. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Please subscribe to my channel for more card videos and check out my blog for details, and I will catch you on my next video. Thanks for watching.